We were looking forward to this Major League Table Tennis weekend here in Rock Hill for months. All 8 teams coming together, the 4 from the East and the 4 from the West, finally getting to showcase their skills against one another. And we've been waiting for this matchup green on green all weekend long. The final match of the weekend on Table 1, the Crocs and the Paddlers, here from the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center, just outside Charlotte, North Carolina. We are in the Palmetto State. And so far this weekend, Florida and Portland haven't measured up to the rest of their divisional counterparts. And they've got one more opportunity to try to change that trend. Florida trying to ward off Chicago and Princeton for the 2 spot. And Portland, with a strong performance here, could inch closer toward playoff positioning in the West Division. Hi again, everybody. Evan Lepler with the Hall of Famer Sean O'Neill. Great to have you with us. And look, the Portland Paddlers have been shorthanded. They've been missing their coach. They've been missing their top female. They've been missing the number 2 player in the league. The Florida Crocs had a disappointing performance in Chicago in November. They've had ups and downs, but they are 2-1, so it hasn't been a disaster for Florida. What do you look at with the matchup here today?
For Portland, they really have got to get out of the blocks fast. They've got to get some wins under their belt so they're not going into that golden game at such a deficit like we've seen this weekend.
Yeah, it's been hard to come back from an early deficit, especially for Portland. We saw yesterday they just tried to bring positive energy even though they were struggling. But, I mean, if you like green, this is really the match for you. And we begin with Gorak and Shah, a matchup that not only will set the tone, but could determine whether I surpass the brilliant Sean O'Neill in MLTT fantasy ranking points. I'll keep you posted on that.
I think you've got more players on the table in these last 2 matches, but...
Yes, but mixed doubles with Gorak and Ekholm against Shah and Sung. And, I mean, we saw Jonathan McDonald play a fascinating battle with Yevgen Prishepa yesterday. Today, Jonathan versus Ojo in the 4 spot. That's also a popcorn match, isn't it?
Yeah, and I really am looking forward to the 3rd singles match with Michelle Levinsky against Tyrese Knight. Guaranteed to be a back-and-forth battle, contrasting styles, and Levinsky's got amazing serves.
First singles match, Daniel Gorak and Ji-Wei Shah. I've liked the body language from Gorak all weekend long.
He's been firing on all cylinders. Ji-Wei Shah, the heart and soul of the Paddlers. He's taken it upon himself to come out and play match number 1. He figures that if he can get some quick games under his belt, that will set the standard for the rest of the teammates. Playing very effective, especially off the forehand side. Super fighter.
Well, Gorak has played 3 singles matches, and he's earned 80 fantasy points for my proud team.
He was just...
That tells you he's 8-1 in singles games across his 3 matches so far here in Rock Hill.
Yeah, and he was just a little bit too expensive for my taste. Had to go with some of the lower priced players, hoping to get those 3 and 4, and especially the golden game. That's where a lot of the players have been really shining. So this should be an interesting match. Ji-Wei Shah, very strong forehand backhand combination. Daniel Gorak, a very balanced player, amazing power, effortless for most of his attacks.
What will the key be for Ji-Wei here against Gorak as they square off for the first time?
It's really going to be if he can control the serve. What he's done very well is drop it short. Give him a chance to get into attack when Gorak is serving. Then off of his serve, he's got to make sure he doesn't give up the first attack, the first opening. Gorak has a very balanced game. When they play long rallies, look for Gorak just to keep the ball in play, but very deep. Ji-Wei will be going for the big shots to finish it quickly.
All right, the stage is set. Florida came into this weekend with 100 points in their 19 matches. They've got 38 points so far in their 3 matches. They have 2 wins and 1 loss. Texas had a lead going into the Golden Game last time here on Table 1, but could not hang on. So a couple East Division Golden Game comeback. Chicago came back against Seattle as well. Big energy expected from G-Way. Fist pumps, emotion, positive enthusiasm.
Two, 0.
G-Way knows if he can come out fast, especially taking the first 2 points off of Gorak's serve, get to that 5 first, and put it into cruise control, take that first game.
0-4.
Well, Gorak takes a little stroll after falling behind 4-0, trying to regroup and restart this match mentally. He went for it with the serve.
Very aggressive out to the forehand, but ready to counterattack. And Gorak so clean with the opening. He plays that first backhand topspin. It really puts the opponent on the defensive, forcing them to block, and then all of a sudden Gorak will just keep the offense going, moving the ball around until he finds a weakness.
Five, 2.
Nice deep block by Ji-Wei Shaw.
Wow. That was a game of chicken right there. The short ball, one after another, and then all of a sudden, bing, bang, boom.
Gorak so strong on the counterattack.
Three, 6. Six, 4.
Gorak back within 2. The esteemed leader of our ultimate production team, Luke Johnson, was asking why I wasn't talking more about fantasy table tennis. And my simple answer was why my team wasn't doing that well. However,
Now, were you talking about the Patriots or were you talking about your fantasy team?
talking about, what did I say? Either way, things are turning around on both
I was
fronts,
trying to
maybe.
stop the bleeding that was about to occur on my end.
Yeah, well,
Changing sports on you.
my Patriots aren't doing all that hot either, but that's to be expected. My Sunday fantasy table tennis resurgence might be the story of the day. And Daniel Gorak,
6, 6.
whether he realizes it or not, is going to be a huge part of that. I don't really care how I finish overall. I just want to be ahead of you and Matt.
Well, that's the name of the game.
And I'm ahead of Matt right now.
Matt and I are feeling the exact same way because we've got our names on the line that if you can come in not knowing the sport and just smoke us, what does that say about us?
Well, that's, you know,
7.
I didn't want to say that.
Numbers
But
don't lie.
It's
so
hard not to extrapolate.
I've been giving
But look,
tips to as many players as possible to let them know what's on the line.
when I try to let my players breathe. I'm more of a player's coach. I don't want to put too much in their minds because I prefer to just let Daniel Gorak go out there and do his thing without having him recognize the pressure of being the
Your star
number
pick?
one player on my fantasy team. I think you're putting unnecessary pressure on your guys, Sean.
Well, Ji-Wei Shaw looking very good.
And honestly, this match, whichever one can take 2 out of 3, might determine who finishes ahead between you and me.
It very well could, so let's go Ji-Wei.
You want to just go out like that and just start rooting for your guy?
Well, I am giving him a ride home from the airport, so if he doesn't win at least one game, he might be walking.
Hopefully he has Uber installed on his phone is what you're saying. 8-all after Ji-Wei led 4-0. It is hard too when you mix, your business with your friends. Can lead to some uncomfortable situations like that ride home from the airport.
And Ji-Wei with a very nice short return.
Well, that's a big break for Ji-Wei and MLTT color. 10-8, not over yet. Gorak back within 1.
10-9.
If you were to call one of these colors green and the other spearmint, which one would be which?
I'm Irish, so I'm going to go Gorak has the green. Ji-Wei has the spearmint.
10-10.
And now a golden point.
It's a long match, Sean. Don't get too high or low depending on what happens.
But
on
I'm
this
also
point.
red-green colorblind, so I thought they were both wearing blue.
You learn something new every day. Gorak takes an extra beat, cleans off the table. Big golden point here. Gorak serving. And Ji-Wei Shaw takes game 1 to the delight of Sean O'Neill, who just fist pumped here in the broadcast booth.
Couple jumping jacks, couple push-ups. And Ji-Wei Shaw just keeping the ball short and low, not taking any risk. Gorak going for the backhand, catches the top of the net, and ready to punch that paddle. But Ji-Wei punches the scorecard, gets game 1 for the paddlers.
Obviously, Ji-Wei got off to the good start, but Gorak was able to erase that 4-point lead. What ultimately decided that in Ji-Wei's favor in your mind?
Just reducing the errors. A couple balls in the backcourt, you see him throwing up some lobs, but it's just the little things, moving the ball around, putting it into locations and positions that if Gorak decides to go for too much of a shot, the shot's really not there. You just can't in table tennis take a big swing on every shot. Certain balls, based on their height, their depth, are that much easier to finish. Ji-Wei is a master of taking pace off the ball, but also getting his forehand into play, especially on shots into the middle and backhand.
Game 2, paddlers.
Look for Ji-Wei to be much more offensive-minded in this game. Dodged a bullet that
0-0.
first one. And there's a strong backhand block down the line. We've seen Ji-Wei doing that this weekend here in Rock Hill. And there's the first forehand opening.
0-2.
Very good start on Ji-Wei's serve.
1, 2.
Good rally.
2,
Gorak really feels comfortable in that type of point when he gets back about 4 or 5 feet, and he just continues to make heavy topspin. Jiwei is going to have to be more offensive minded.
That's nice.
2, 3.
So smooth by the former Polish national champion. Just covers the ball. Great follow through. Not a bad idea by Jiwei to add some more
4, 2.
speed on that block instead of just blocking it on the table, because Gorak will keep spinning all day long, so Jiwei needs to take some chances.
Quick glimpse of Frank Arias, the coach of the Crocs.
Great position
3.
by Jiwei. Right into the middle of the table. Very smart return off that deep serve. Jiwei just a little bit of a side spin chop block. Enough to give Gorak a second look at the change of spin. Jiwei needs to make that backhand down the line.
Good backhands from Jiwei, but Gorak just kept on pummeling.
Yeah.
Over on table 2 is a big golden point coming up between Jinxin Wang and Jinbao Ma.
7, 4.
Fantasy implications abound there as well. And Jinbao Ma just earned Sean O'Neill's MLTT Color Fantasy Team 10 more key points. Did you forget about Jinbao with Jiwei?
Kept him in the background. Don't want to overplay anyone.
You're not driving Jinbao home from the
No,
airport.
no.
Four, 9.
Gorak has flipped the script here in game 2 pretty convincingly.
Just got much more comfortable on the serve and serve receive.
10, 4.
Able to get into his game much easier than in game 1 after starting 0-4.
10, 5.
Beautiful step around by Jiwei.
6, 10.
Inside out, fading forehand. Drop shot, get around the ball, and then right into the body.
Jiwei could put the pressure on Gorak if he could win both these points on his serve.
Smart play.
7,
Kept
10.
it away from Gorak's forehand. Looks like there's going to
Timeout. Crocs.
possibly be a timeout. A little extra
Gorak
breather.
will catch his breath. By the way, if anyone out there is wondering what a first place fantasy team looks like, here's Mimi Smarty Pants' roster for the weekend.
Yeah.
Enzo Angles, Alex Kazaku, Daniele Pinto, Alex Chen, Jinbao Ma, Emily Tan, Andre Lapchik, and Angie Tan. That's the 8 players chosen by Mimi Smarty Pants. And
Well, she speaks to each one of these players on an hourly basis, so.
you're saying there's some tampering involved?
Well, she just knows exactly how they're feeling. Any issue they have, she's taken care of.
You're saying that she gives preferential treatment to the players on her fantasy team?
No, it just everyone counts on her, so she knows
What exactly are you accusing her of here, Sean?
She knows who's on top of their game. She knows who's feeling emotionally strong.
I thought that was your job.
No, I'm just giving them encouragement and telling them good luck and that I like their style.
Gotcha. Mimi Smarty Pants is the Carolina Gold Rush of MLTT Fantasy for this particular weekend right now.
And she didn't even bring it up last night at dinner. That was the thing. I would have been all over.
I respect her humility.
And Gorak, with the controlled opening,
11-7.
makes that timeout work and just keeps spinning along.
Jiwei takes the golden point in game 1. Gorak wins more convincingly 11-7 in game 2 to set up an intriguing rubber game with ramifications rippling throughout the league and the entire table tennis universe. Daniel Gorak's wife in attendance.
Sporting the Crocs color scheme.
Members of the Arias family here as well. They got to be the home team at the very first MLTT event. And just because of Florida being a delightful place to visit in January and February, the Crocs will be the home team for both of the next 2 East Division showcases. First weekend of January and the second weekend of February. There's the schedule. Hollywood, Florida, Broward
Game
County,
3.
the 5th through the 7th. And then we'll go a little bit north, in between Orlando and Tampa.
Crocs to serve.
And the perfectly named Winter Haven.
0-0.
Game 3 underway with Gorak striking first.
And right idea for Jiwei Schaaf. That serve comes off the end. He has to loop it. He can't afford just to put it into play. Gorak way too strong with the offense.
0-2.
Gorak holds his own serve. Very smart, deep push into the body. And Gorak
0.
pulling a page out of Jiwei's playbook from game 1.
Timeout. Paddling.
Takes both sets of serves.
Timeout taken by Jiwei Shah and Idan Levy and the Portland Paddlers. Now, Gorak trailed 4-0 in game 1 and came back to make it a game. Jiwei will try to return the favor here, but obviously a big hill to climb against a guy like Gorak, who once he finds his groove, I mean, he's a momentum guy.
Yeah, really a rhythm style of player that once he can get that first attack going, he'll just continue at that same pace, either until he gets a weak ball, then he'll rev it up, or he'll just keep looping. Jiwei has to get his forehand going.
Yeah, excuse me, we'll see these two again square off in doubles, the mixed doubles. Gorak with his familiar partner Mati Ekholm, and Jiwei playing with Joanna Sung again. Jiwei and Joanna have had their moments, but I think Gorak and
4-0.
Ekholm deserve to be favorites to win 2-1 maybe?
Yeah, I would say favorites and possibly even a sweep. They've got that much
4-1.
experience together as a team. And they are fighting to keep the revolution at bay. Oh,
That's too good.
that's just a bullet from Daniel Gorak. Just
Switch in.
signed, sealed, and delivered. What a finishing shot.
1-5.
I will point out that there's a fantasy pick in that singles too, as I have Mr. Vila Ortiz.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
1.
I also
Six.
have
I know, you looked at my list.
And Matt
You saw who I
also
was
has Isak.
choosing. You took the base of mine, and then you added some special picks.
I swear on the life of my 2 children, that's not what happened.
6-2.
Hacked my machine. Had my cell phone when I couldn't find it.
I have listened intently to your expertise over the past 3 months and extrapolated from there.
And then changed all the votes. Nice blocking by G-Way this time.
3.
Staying a little closer to the table so that the blocks can have some pressure on them. Oh, overhitting on that ball.
4-6.
Jinshin Wong did take 2 out of 3 from Jinbao Ma.
Of course.
So, from a fantasy perspective, between me and you, you had a 2-point edge. You had Ji-Wei and Jinbao. I have Gorak here. Gorak's able to win this game. It'll still be a 2-point difference as we head toward Isak and Brossier. But far more important than our fantasy team is the
4-7.
championship implications in regards to playoff positioning, the standings, the individual successes and failures of each of these players. Ji-Wei Shah with some excellent defense there.
Holding the table extremely well.
Uh-oh, Sean's scrolling through the fantasy standings.
I don't think I'm in the top 50 anymore.
Well,
Oh, no, I am
you're looking
37.
No, you're looking at full season and not just this weekend. I'm talking about just this weekend because we're focused on, the lineups change each individual weekend. So that's where you got to go. Can't start fantasy in the middle of the season and have the whole season. A lot of people didn't know about it week 1 or week 5 as it was when it began. Come on now.
I think everyone who needed to know about it did.
See what you did there. I understand you needed the head start. Great hitting. Daniel Gorak now in front 9-5 here in the rubber game against Ji-Wei Shah. Too good.
5.
Great angle. Great spin. 10-5. That's nice from Ji-Wei.
10-6.
Staying alive for at least 1 more point. Emphatically so. Gorak now a couple chances on his serve to finish this one off. Good stuff.
Game 3. Crocs.
Daniel Gorak shows off the Crocs chomp as he takes it for his Florida team. Gorak improves to 10-2 in singles for the weekend here in Rock Hill.
Just an outstanding performance. Of course, we will see him in the doubles as well as the golden game, where he will be adding a few more points for his Florida Crocs.
We can only hope.
But I am going to see right now with Vila Ortiz a chance to come out of the blue and make sure those chomps don't continue.
Two-minute warm-up.
So Vila and Brossier coming up, but Daniel Gorak joins us now. Daniel, an intense opening game. You had a little bit of a slow start in game one. You made it close. G-Way pulled it out. But in games 2 and 3, you really played convincing table tennis. What stood out most to you?
Yeah, I started the game a little bit slower, but I made so many easy mistakes, which was my game. And I told to my coach, like, I have to just put ball on the table because I missed so many backhands. This was the reason why I lost first game. And later I start to calm down, play on the table more safe. Still I made mistake because I feel I'm a little bit tired, but I'm happy to win this game.
So what are you going to be looking for in the doubles? It'll be the first time that Ji-Wei and Joanna Sung play against your team. Go back to the normal thing of getting your attacks, letting Maddie keep the ball on the table, or maybe have her play a little bit more offense?
We have some strategy with Matilda to play against them, and we will use this one. But I hope I will let Matilda to play because she's fresher.
Daniel, last thing, how do you feel about your performance this weekend, going 10-2 across 4 singles matches?
I think I'm doing well all the weekend. I'm very satisfied how I played all the weekend, and I'm also proud of my teammates. We're doing well.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. We'll see you in doubles.
Thank you.
Paddlers.
So Benjamin
third.
Brossier, Isak Vila, this next singles match. This should be
0-0.
interesting, Sean, but we're going to watch this while also chatting with a very special guest. The commissioner of Major League Table Tennis, Flint Lane,
1-0.
joins us with the broadcast booth for table number 1. Mr. Commissioner, what are your feelings as we near the end of this jam-packed weekend of table tennis here in Rock Hill?
I guess I would say just a huge feeling of relief. Our normal weekends are 6 matches over 3 days. This weekend we've had 16 matches over 3 days, and it's really been an incredible team effort by everybody to pull this off. 3 months ago we didn't think we probably would be able to, but somehow we figured it out.
You've got a great team of people around you. Do you realize that Mimi is #1 in fantasy, by the way?
I realize that Mimi is #1. This match is yet to be played, and she's not eligible for prizes, but she does get bragging rights.
And but she's humble and has great humility and would never rub it in the rest of the team's face, right?
No comment.
Good start here for Isak Vila, although right on cue the service error.
Holy announcer jinx.
Yeah, that's what we do up here. Flint, as you look back at the last 3 months overall, and really the last 6 months, because 6 months ago this seemed kind of like a pipe dream too. What stands out most about the past few months from your perspective at the top of the pyramid?
We just keep building and building. Every competitive weekend we're getting better and better in the competition, the familiarity with the format, the streaming, the broadcast. So I've been very happy with the progress to date. If we were a year from now, I wouldn't be happy with this because we need to continue to get better. There's so much we still need to do, but considering that this was just a dream 8 months ago, I'm very, very happy with what we pulled off so far.
One thing I appreciate about your management style is how eager you are to hear feedback from players and coaches and fans and broadcasters. What have been some of the more interesting pieces of feedback that you have received, maybe not just this weekend, but throughout the whole season?
Let's just go with this weekend for interest. Golden Game is a concept that we invented for Major League Table Tennis because it really cinches the whole team format, rotating in every 4 points. And announcers, players, coaches, it's just fantastic. Everybody loves it. Now, it's pressure-filled. In terms of comments, we get comments like the Golden Game should be worth more points. It should be worth less points. You should allow anybody to switch on. So everybody has their ideas on how to potentially improve the Golden Game. so far, I like it the way it's run.
Yeah, it definitely is exciting. And about 3/4 of the time, the team that has had the lead going into the Golden Game has won it. But we saw in the round earlier today, we saw a pair of comebacks: Carolina against Texas and Chicago against Seattle.
Yeah, there's no lead that's safe when it's still in reach with the Golden Game, and that was the purpose of it. We don't want the matches to get out of hand and have the end of the matches be meaningless. So it allows teams, as long as they stay within 5 points, they have a shot of pulling it out. Now, the odds get long, as you know. You can run the math on that, but it is possible. A team with they were down 3 points and they pulled it out quite handily, actually.
So Flint, I've got one question. As a former national coach, how much were you thinking of the importance of table tennis development in the United States by giving these youngsters a chance to play major league action without having to fly around the world, give up their school education? We have a number of students in college, even in high school with Angie Tan. Was that in the forefront of your mind, or just bringing the absolute best table tennis to the U.S. possible?
This is an unbelievable point right here, by the way. Vila takes it against Brossier.
Good chance that's the #1 highlight of the week. That was pretty spectacular.
This had to be kind of what you had in mind, too, this type of athleticism on display.
100%. And Benji Brossier, I love him. I've dubbed him Rug Burn because he's on the ground diving all the time. He hasn't gotten a rug burn this week yet. I'm hoping for one in the next couple games. In terms of the development of our youth in this sport, it's really a shame in America. Players stop playing during high school, before college, or generally right after college, because the only other choice is to go to Europe and try to eke out a living there. And kids can't dream of being a professional table tennis player. We've seen fans today showing up in their Carolina Gold Rush jerseys, cheering on the local team, and it's really exciting. Maybe one of those kids will be in a major league at some point.
Speaking of the Gold Rush, are you surprised by how dominant they have been from a standings standpoint?
I'm very surprised, and I expected more parity because we did a draft, and everybody had the same level of information, and they could draft whomever they chose. And I think some teams drafted based on talent. Some people drafted based on the potential to get better over time. But then some people drafted based on culture and people, and you'll see that in other sports. The great cultures often will beat out better teams because they just gel much better, and that Golden Game is all about gelling. It's all about picking up your teammates.
I think we've heard from a number of players, especially with Florida and New Jersey or Princeton, that they just are so excited to help and support their teammates. As you see after every point, players looking back to their bench for confirmation that they got the job done. So I really agree with you, Flynn, on here we've got a big point. And somebody gets an extra 10 points right there in their fantasy.
Isak Vila Ortiz takes game 1, 11-8 over Benjamin Brossier, and now 2-2 on the team tally here in this team match. Flint, as we look forward towards 2024, what should we have on our radar? What are you most intrigued about in the upcoming year?
We've had incredible interest from the international community, from athletes who want to join the league. There is one time to enter the draft, and I'll announce today that the draft will open on January 15th of next year. So athletes who are elite can enter the draft, and everybody has a shot of being drafted by a team. We have not finalized how many teams there will be next year, whether we're going to do expansion or not. That decision will be made in the next month or two. But we have lots of things in store. We have some things that we want to do to support our local clubs. There are roughly 150 clubs throughout America, and it's tough to run a table tennis club in America. So we're looking to do things to support them, getting them some free advertising, getting them some more foot traffic, maybe getting them some merchandise dollars. So a lot of things on the drawing board. We want to be careful not to take on too much, because in any startup like this, there's a million things to do. But we've got a lot to still do.
From a roster management standpoint, can you enlighten us on some of the rules or the visions of how rosters will carry over from one year to the next, with a draft being involved as well, with new players wanting to come in?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't have a team culture if your team is changing wholesale every year. So coaches will have a decision to make prior to next year's draft on who from their current team they would like to keep on their roster. Now the players have a choice as well. You know, if they don't want to continue to play in the league, then they certainly can't. They can certainly opt out. I'm not expecting that, but there's a good chance that if a lot of great athletes join the draft, you're going to see some teams drop a couple of their players and draft to fill those spots with perhaps better players, either from the U.S. or overseas. And that's pro sports. That's just the way it works. This guy gets to everything.
And he turns the table on Isak Vila.
A backhand from the backcourt by Benjamin Brossier. Just keeping it in play, looking for that opportunity. Backline, great shot.
Like a young Flint Lane out there playing defense.
You know, most people will stick to their backhand and just try to get the ball back on the table. You saw Benji step in a little bit there and take a full swing to change the advantage. And you'll see players who can do that on both the forehand and the backhand certainly have an edge over some of the other players.
What have been some of your most favorite moments from the season, either during the competition or outside of the competition?
Oh, there's just so many. I'll say from this weekend, probably the moment I was most proud of was to see all 8 teams line up for the photo op. Right? The season picture. You know, these are, I guess we had 48 athletes from 20 different countries come to Rock Hill, South Carolina for the first professional table tennis league in America. That was a pretty amazing moment.
That was this morning, right?
It was yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
I saw the picture this morning, I think.
Now, a couple of things I was surprised by that, you know, we pulled together. Certainly the golden point, you know, making it you know, whoever gets to 11 wins instead of win by 2. That was a bit controversial. Not many leagues do that. That's added a level of excitement, a level of intensity that you normally don't see. The whole play exactly 3 games, nobody's been doing that, and that's worked out wonderfully. Everybody is bringing the intensity. Even if they're down 2-0, they know that 3rd game is incredibly important. I was a little worried that they wouldn't get that. The athletes wouldn't figure out how to bring it, but that has not been an issue. So there's a lot of things we had to invent to make it a team sport, and I'd say most of it has gone well. What hasn't gone well is most teams are playing their woman in doubles, and generally their skill level is not as high as some of the most of the men on the team. That is changing today. The Bay Area Blasters actually are playing a woman in singles, and I think according to Evan's detailed data analytics, generally when a team plays a woman in singles, they have a better chance of winning than the other team. I think it's like 6-1 when that happens, something like that?
Something like that, yeah. I'm not sure if it's conclusive data in terms of you know, giving it the reason as to why it's happening quite yet, but there's certainly some interesting data to look at. The thing that's more surprising to me is that you know, men's doubles teams are not beating mixed doubles teams. In fact, mixed doubles teams have more game wins over men's doubles teams than vice versa.
Well, that's a very small sample size for sure. And doubles is all about familiarity with your own teammate, right? And knowing when to move in, move out. And there's a couple different double strategies, as Sean knows way better than I do. But you stick 2 guys together, even if they're really good, that doesn't make them a good doubles team.
Playing singles out there with 2 guys on a side, and what we've seen is the communication. When the teams work together and don't get hot when one of their partners misses. We've seen it with North Carolina. What a lineup with Enzo and Hong Lin, just really working as a super pair.
And we've seen Coley and Rachel Sung beat some men's doubles teams as well in the West Division. But Rachel's not here. Her twin sister Joanna will be playing the G-Way coming up next.
And Joanna's been bringing a lot of energy to Portland, just really stepping in her sister's role.
We've seen a lot of free agents really perform this weekend. On the Princeton team, this kid, Nishant Labaka, he was the only one on their team to go 3-0 yesterday.
He gave one of the best interviews as well, just so appreciative and thankful for the opportunity after missing the draft but staying active in the pool. He made the most of it, and once again, Mr. Ortiz getting the long rally.
9-5.
I mean, Brossier plays exhilarating table tennis, Sean, but it's hard for him to turn points around and win them when he's in that, you know, disadvantageous position.
Yeah, I hear that a lot from people. Like, are you the kind of player who plays from way off the table? I'm like, not if I can help it, right? Something's gone horribly wrong and the point's gotten away from me. And Benji likes to play far away from the table, and sometimes that works. But if you play the angles like Isaac is doing here, it makes it very difficult to be that far away from the table.
Game points here for Isaac Vila. We're chatting with the commissioner of Major League Table Tennis, Flint Lane, and you usually get some matches in yourself, either recreationally or seriously with bragging rights on the line. Has that been the case this weekend, or has it been too busy?
I am nursing a back injury, so I am on the injured reserve, and it's really affected my psyche. I play 3 or 4 days a week, solidly mediocre table tennis, but it's certainly good for my brain. It's very meditative, and if I don't have my table tennis, I can tend to be a little cranky. You can ask my wife that.
And if you're in Princeton or Naples, you definitely want to show up at one of the Pong clubs there.
I would suggest wherever you are, visit your local club. They could use your support. There are a lot of welcoming communities, no matter what your level, that you can find a game, beginner, intermediate, advanced. There are 150, 200 clubs, something like that, both part-time and full-time, all throughout the U.S. and, frankly, all throughout the world. And table tennis is a very welcoming community. Last night I was with 25 athletes at night. Everybody was getting dinner late. And they're different teams, and they're mixing. And you wouldn't see that in other professional sports teams mixing like that. But everybody really wants us to be successful, and I think everybody's rooting for each other.
There's definitely a family team atmosphere, even off the table afterwards, after those tough losses. You see, last night we needed to do some translation services for Vila Ortiz, and we just went to the Crocs head coach, able to help out. So it's really been a wonderful treat to have the world come to the United States, as well as to help our players learn and get that so important competition.
Some questions that have bubbled up in the YouTube comments include changes for season 2, and I know that's still, formulating in your mind, but more female players, female versus female matches, any format changes. What do you have in mind? I know it's still unfinished.
Yeah, so there's nothing that is unchangeable, right? So we will consider anything that will enhance MLTT, and the attitude is what's best for the league. And if it's my good idea and ultimately people decide it's not a good idea, we're going to throw it out as fast as anybody else's idea. Things that we're concrete looking at is the female playtime and making sure the women get singles. I had hoped that would happen naturally, and as you can see, only once this weekend, I think, did a woman play singles, and that's not a good look for our sport. We need to do a better job recruiting women internationally and from the U.S. A lot of the top women in the U.S. are playing, but they have a lot of other international commitments with other leagues as well.
Great effort from Brossier, but not enough. And Isaac Vila has taken a 2-0 lead for the Portland Paddlers here in the second singles match.
Yeah, so we were fortunate to get such a crack broadcast team. Evan, I know your weekend was a bit of a whirlwind, calling some matches on Friday, flying down to Florida to call some college basketball. Tell me how you feel this compares and contrasts to some of the other sports you do, whether it's basketball or ultimate disc.
Wow. I think...
the shoe's on the other foot with me asking the questions.
I prefer to ask the questions rather than answer them. I think as a broadcaster, it's hard to sell something as feeling really big without a crowd and an atmosphere. And that goes for any sport. I was just saying about the basketball game I did yesterday at Miami.
Game 3.
They're a top 10 team.
Paddlers to serve.
It was a noon game, early December, and it was not
0-0.
a typical ACC basketball atmosphere. I would lay out sometimes after a good moment expecting the crowd would take over, and they just didn't. I think I wasn't in Pleasanton, but I was watching from afar, and there was a different vibe on the stream in the presentation of it, with a great crowd getting behind Lily, the Tapa fanatics going nuts as well. So I think, obviously it's a challenge for the league as we jettison all the way around the country and all sorts of different places and environments with different table tennis backgrounds. But I think in any sport, to sell it as something that feels really substantial, if you have people there creating that atmosphere, that's a huge thing. In terms of the talent of the players, like, what do I know? But I'm overwhelmed by how good these
3,
men and women are,
1.
and the intensity with which that they play every single point, because in a lot of ways I feel like their livelihoods depend on it, because there's rewards that go with every game, every golden game, every team success. You've done a great job, in my opinion, of building that in, and that incentive creates legitimate intensity, which is magnifies the whole value of the league, in my opinion.
Well, just along the same lines, what I've noticed with the players is they're so excited with the victories, but they're also feeling the pain of the defeats. They want to win so badly with this team concept. I asked one of the players to go do something. He's like, you know, Sean, I just lost. Can I just have a few minutes to really let this sink in? And I was like, no, you want to get over it quickly. And he's like, no, this was very painful. We had a chance to win. And the intensity from the coaches all the way down to the 8th players that get pulled in to help a team because a player might have another obligation. It's been so amazing, just so heartwarming to see everyone care so much.
Yeah, I saw in the previous Texas game, Texas had the lead, but they were losing at the end, and Bruno, who was sitting because of an injury, he's over there kicking things, he's upset, and he's not even playing in the match, and he's bringing that intensity.
The other thing that I should say, just is a tribute to everyone involved in this league, year one doesn't usually look like this, with just the level of professionalism kind of everywhere. You know, obviously getting the people to come in all different places around the country is the big next step, but just the signage and, you know, the logistics of the curtains and the practice tables and the banners and the flags and the logos, it feels really legit. Way more legit than professional ultimate frisbee ever felt in year 1 or 2 or 3, and, you know, more legit than small mid-major college basketball feels sometimes.
Yeah, I think we had an advantage in that myself and many of the people who started with me had lots of experience in building businesses. So when we started, you know, step number 1, we need to get somebody who's fantastic in logistics, and we were able to land Ed Hogshead, who's in charge of pulling off all these events. You know, step 2 was we need to get somebody involved in the growth end of the business. How do we sell teams? How do we sell sponsorships? How do we drive more revenue? And my good friend John Yapola joined the business. Then we needed somebody who would focus on the player development, the coach development, and we were lucky to get Mimi Bosica, whose dad I think you interviewed a few matches ago. And then up and down the team, whether it's you know, Max and Jordan, I'm going to leave somebody out. I'm going to feel terrible. Kenny or Nick. Tapa, Jed, you name it. You know, a great team up and down Major League Table Tennis. Plus, we've got all sorts of people who are helping us out, whether it's you know, the broadcast team from AUDL, whether it's the group from Legends, our CFO Anthony, who I've worked with in the past. So, you know, you bring in people who, you know, get the culture, get what we're trying to accomplish, and this is not a let's figure out something over 10 years, right? I'm not the youngest guy around. I don't want this to be figured out over 20 years. Like, I want this done now.
You're not the oldest guy around either. Has there been any moments where you felt like John Yapala has been trying to intentionally sabotage what you're doing?
I mean, in the last 5 minutes, no. But generally, I do. We have a very funny dialogue back and forth with people like, do you guys even like each other? But I'll tell you about one moment that, you know, we talk about milestones. You know, certainly the first match was a milestone. This crossover event was a milestone. I texted my family at the Pleasanton match, simply this: there's a guy dressed as a banana at our match. And when people are dressing in banana suits to come to your sporting event, you know, that's something cool.
Did you get a picture with him?
No, I did not. I got a picture of him, but he was deep into the stands. Like, that Lily rooting section was enormous. And they had signs, I didn't even know what they were. She had some kind of fruit dressing on her hand or something.
I think they asked Lily her favorite color, and when she said yellow, they all said, what looks like it's something yellow? So that's how the banana came out.
Well, it's been really fun being a part of it personally, and it's been fun chatting with you here. And meanwhile, Vila and Brossier have delivered a pretty riveting match with crazy rallies back and forth.
Couple knockdowns.
Vila's got 2-0 lead, but Brossier trying to rally and get a point for his team.
Yeah, this third game is huge. Like, if he can score this game, ties it up, or they're down 2 points. You know, it's a big difference. Sean, it's always interesting to see which serves they go to in the clutch, right? Are they going to go to the safe when the pressure's high? Are they going to go to like one of their ringer serves to try to get a cheap point?
Yeah, with the Europeans, they tend to play a little safer. The Americans, especially the South Americans, they take bigger risks. And right there, the serve return of Brossier, very effective, just right into the body. I just love the number of French players in the league. They're so professional, great technique, super fight, especially like Lorenz. Of course, the play of Enzo has been amazing. Look at this point here.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, you can thank Damian Provost for that. Both Damian Provost and Daniel Gonzalez were MLTT ambassadors that we hired in one of the first decisions that we made, because we needed to get the word out to professionals throughout the world that this was serious. In fact, Mimi was telling me a story where we had one player whose parents contacted us because they thought it was a scam that their son was signing up for our league.
That's how the top players felt back in 2011, 2012, when the seeds of professional ultimate frisbee were first planted on the internet. People literally were on their way to tryouts wondering if they were getting trolled and if this was actually real.
10, 9.
It's still real, it's still going on over a decade later, and this is just the beginning for MLTT. Brossier 1 point away from tying this match up, 3 points apiece. Isak Vila trying to come from behind in game 3 and earn the sweep. That'll do it. Brossier able to salvage a point and even up this match. Flint Lane, any final thoughts before we bring in the interview?
Just a big thank you out to all the fans who are supporting us. I know there's a lot of people rooting for us, whether they're playing fantasy, whether they're watching online, whether they're attending matches or buying merchandise. We really appreciate all the fans who are supporting this wonderful endeavor. Thank you.
The Commissioner, Flint Lane. Thanks for joining us, Flint.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Best of luck the rest of the weekend, and as we head toward the new year. What a riveting conversation and match that was. We're going to chat with Isak Vila's head coach, interim head coach, Idan Levy, the owner of the Paddlers. Idan, Isak certainly had his work cut out for them there against Benjamin, who made him work for it, but able to earn 2 points. What were your takeaways from that match?
You know, I'm very happy with the Isak performance. He really played exactly like we thought it's possible to play, and very happy with with the performance.
So Idan, I know this week has been very challenging, or this weekend has been very challenging, missing a couple of the star players. What have you personally been saying to the players as they go out onto the court to get them mentally ready to meet the challenge?
Okay, so MLTT have a beautiful idea about team. So it's all about the team. And my idea was, we play for this team. We play for the uniform. We need to respect it. We need to try our very best. And, if we try our very best and we're coming short, I appreciate it too. So it's full of respect. And so far, I'm very happy with the performance this weekend, even that we lost. But I think that the team spirit was there. We're trying very hard for the one that absence, and I'm very pleased. These things can happen again also, and we need to be prepared for that. It's all good.
Hey, Don, the energy emanating from your bench has been really noticeable and positive and purposeful, and we appreciate that. It's cool to see. Congrats, and we'll let you get back to work. We'll talk to you at the end.
Thank you.
Doubles time, Sean. Gorak and Ekholm back on the table against Jiwei and Joanna.
So the seasoned pro and experienced team from the Crocs, they've been the staple of the Florida team from week 1. Jiwei Sean, Joanna Sung. First time they've played together, Joanna coming in out of the pool, but bringing a lot of positive energy. Some great smashes yesterday as they came back trailing 9-5 in the final game to get the W.
1-0. Zero, 2. Zero,
this is a little bit what we thought could happen if Gorak and Ekholm get out to a good start. Ekholm's opening loop, often she'll put extra side spin on the ball. As a lefty, a lot of curves, but more importantly, perfect placement to give her partner a chance to continue the attack.
5-0.
Start of this doubles match is all Florida.
1-5.
Sean, I know you've provided plenty of feedback to Flint and everyone else with the league, and you know, reasonable minds can disagree about format and the rules and the point system and all that. I mean, if there was one change that you could make for season 2, whether it's format-based or point-based, is there one thing that you would love to see different next year?
I think basically just to have force and have the women's play singles match, regardless of if it's mixed or the women against the women. I think having the women come to the competition and playing 3 matches over a weekend and only playing doubles, that leaves a lot with the strength of a number of Olympic players. Right now we're watching Matilda Ekholm, who's played in multiple Olympic games, and just like to showcase their level a lot more. But other than that, the Golden Game, what a great idea. 6 points I think is absolutely fine. The players and the coaches will adapt. We don't need to change the system to something that has been done in a foreign country just because players are used to it. I think having our own identity and our own way of creating excitement is being done in season 1 really well.
Excellent hustle from Ji-Wei, but just not enough. Game points for the Crocs. (11-5), the final score for game number 1 of the doubles.
It's going to be very difficult, even with the switch in order, just with Matilda Ekholm and Daniel Gorak setting each other up and also protecting the other player from very strong attacks by having perfect placement. Paddlers are going to have to take some risks and get those shots to land.
It's been really fun to watch Gorak and Ekholm develop the chemistry. You know, whether they're up 8-0 or really whether they're down 10-6, you just can never count them out. They have figured out ways to rally back in matches, even when they're not playing their best. And we've certainly seen that on numerous occasions. You see, you know, one of the players looking visibly frustrated and the other picks the other up.
Absolutely.
Game 2, Paddlers to serve. 0-0.
Game 2.
1-0.
Fist pumps from Shah and Sung. Ji-Wei calls the play. Joanna serves. Missed it.
And they know they have to go for the big shot. They're not going to outlast the Crocs by just keeping the ball on the table. Too much firepower and experience with this righty-lefty combination. You can just see how easy it was for Matilda to play that backhand down the line. Really forced Ji-Wei into a defensive shot.
Did you get to watch Matilda play much when she was in her absolute prime?
Quite a bit, quite a bit.
What was her greatest strength?
Played very emotional. When she was hitting winners, they were amazing.
It's hard to believe because she shows so stoic now. It doesn't show much emotion.
I used to always give her a little bit of an issue with her racket tosses because anytime she'd lose a close match, that racket was bound to leave her hand. But we both played for the same club in Stockholm called Angby Sport Club, so we have that connection there. But she's just always been a fighter. Earlier in her career when she qualified for the Olympics, the Swedish Olympic Association chose not to send her even though she met all the international requirements, and then they did it a second time. Finally, they relented after she continued to show that she was among the best women in the world. And just now having her in the U.S., playing out of New York and working at Ping Pod, it's such a thrill to see her part of MLTT because she brings so much passion and energy to the sport.
Tremendous perseverance to keep that Olympic dream alive. Finally fulfilled it in Rio in 2016.
But from a playing standpoint, her backcourt play has always been one of the biggest strengths, and we saw it here going back lobbing. But she can play off the table, often with these great side spin hooking loops. And of course her serve. And that's a strength as a lefty in doubles. It's her normal singles serve. Same with the return. She's in the backhand corner. She can really put a lot of pressure on the opposing team. But Portland
hanging around.
Staying on the offense at every opportunity. Great footwork by Joanna and Ji-Wei.
Portland Paddlers have surged into a 2-point lead here in game 2. There's Daniel Gorak, an Olympian as well, back in 2016. 5 times a Polish national champ, 4 times a European champion. And look, we saw what Daniel did in singles earlier today and throughout the weekend. He's been a guy that started crazy hot in Daytona Beach back in September, when not only did he go 7-2 in singles, but he went 17-4 in Golden Game points, which is just ridiculous. It's absurd. Came back to earth a little bit in October and November, and entered this weekend a solid but not spectacular 15-12 in singles, and his Golden Game was slightly above 500, 33-30, and yet here 10-2 in singles. He's crushing it in doubles as well. He's showing himself as the number 2 pick in the draft to be one of the top players in the league after he had fallen out of the top 5 in the power rankings out of the Chicago event.
And I think with a player with his style who's so balanced, who really plays off the tempo and speed of the opponent, when you do have a slight slump or you're going down, it forces you to recalibrate and go for some bigger shots. And I think that's what we're seeing here this weekend, is that he realized that, again, just controlled attacks weren't getting the job done, and he's upped his game, going for a lot more power. It's also going to tire you out a lot more, and that's what he said earlier after the first interviews, that he's going to let Maddie do a little bit more of the heavy lifting in this match.
That's a big point right there.
9,
Could have been 10-7 instead, 9-8. One more serve for Sung.
Gorak
9-all.
forcing the issue.
Florida
9.
has scored 4 straight. And they're in position to steal game 2.
And just controlling the short game, that ball was a nice deep push by Gorak.
The Crocs
Game 2.
come up with the
Crocs,
answers
11-9.
yet again. From deep in the backcourt, Ekholm and Gorak stay in the point and ultimately take it 11-9.
Just great play from the backcourt. Portland on the attack. Ji-Wei Sha trying to just force one more big forehand, catches the top of the net, unable to turn the corner. Crocs beginning to chomp down a little bit.
Meanwhile, over on table 2, I don't know if we can take a sneak peek. It's a men's doubles duo for the Bay Area Blasters and a mixed doubles duo for Princeton. They're currently 1 game apiece, but the mixed doubles team of Przeszepa and Guan is a 9-4 lead in game 2. And this will perpetuate a trend that we have noticed, and it is a pretty small sample size, but if Przeszepa and Guan can close out this game up 10-4, mixed doubles teams being a team of a man and a woman, and there it is, they just won it, 11-4 over Wenjong and Gadwani.
Game 3. Crocs to
In
serve.
terms of games, mixed doubles teams have beaten
0-0.
men's doubles teams 14 out of 24, 14-10.
Amazing.
And yet, teams that have played a women at singles have gone 6-1 when only 1 woman has played singles on the 2 teams combined.
We saw
0.
in California with Lily Jung twice sweeping.
Well,
And then-
she was a force of nature.
Yeah. Well, she had the fans behind her, so
0-2.
anytime you're playing in front of the hometown, and you've got Bananas and all of your friends from college in the stands, that's going to make a sizable difference.
Yeah, the extra potassium in the crowd is a huge factor.
Never going to cramp up when that happens.
1-2.
There's a mixed singles match, if you can call it that, with Angie Tan for the Blasters going against Lavaca.
3-1.
They're shaking hands, getting ready to start. We'll keep an eyeball on that as Gorak and Ekholm try to get to the finish line of a sweep, which would be bad news for Sean's fantasy team because it would mean that Lepler's team surpasses O'Neill's in the standings.
1.
And Sean, understandably, is speechless with no possible response. Ouch.
1-5.
And now Portland just really forced to go for everything. Ji-Wei starting very strong to go on the backhand on the serve return. I'm still counting on golden game on both tables. to pick up a sizable amount of points.
You're hoping for or you're counting on?
I'm going to actually guarantee that I'm going to get
2-5.
a number of points. Hopefully it'll be in double digits.
Grasping at straws. Swing and a miss for Sung on the backhand.
And just the over-the-table play of the Crocs. Head fakes, spin changing. And you could see Ekholm with the heavy, heavy opening loop. What a point.
3-7.
Both teams just going for broke. Jiwei on the ground 2 times, 3-point landing.
Eight. Nine,
9-3 in favor of Florida. 2 points away from the sweep. Good serve from Ekholm.
10,
And again,
3.
Jiwei Shah trying to get the quick point, going for broke.
4, 10.
Point for the
5,
paddlers
10.
there. Assuming Florida closes out this sweep, it'll be 6-3 in the Crocs' favor as we head back to singles with Knight against Levinsky. Not sure who has the edge going into that match.
It's really a pick'em match. Both players can be a little bit
10,
streaky.
Yeah. Over the course of 3 games, there will be ebbs and flows. Ups and downs.
Matilda with the final blow.
11, 6.
Excellent play.
(11-5), 11-9, and 11-6 as Gorak and Ekholm complete their interdivisional weekend with a 3-0 sweep over the paddlers in doubles. Feels familiar. It's been pretty steady. This team has had a winning record in doubles now in 3 of their 4 weekends together. And they're always competitive, they're always tough, they're always fun to watch, and they're always chatty afterwards. Matilda Ekholm joins us now. Mati, some entertaining competitive points, but I imagine you're feeling satisfied to get 3 points for your team.
Oh yeah, yeah. We really stayed with our plan throughout the game, and in the end they started getting frustrated and had to try two difficult things. So that's why it looked easy in the end, but it was because we were just closing it all the time.
What was the plan?
Keep it tight, the receives. Anyone who watched the game can see where we received throughout the game, and it worked throughout. So no need to change the tactic when it works.
Matilda, we just saw on the other table that a mixed doubles team beat the 2 men that were playing in Prashepa and Guan, defeated Wenjiang and Godwani. And for the season now, mixed doubles teams, and men and women, have had more success winning more games against men's doubles teams. I'm curious if you have thoughts on the chemistry and the dynamic of that.
I think if you're a good mixed doubles, then the guy understands that he doesn't need to do everything. Like playing with Daniel is really a pleasure because he trusts me and he lets me take space too. And even though the men are faster and stronger, like the women here are at such high level, like technically and mentally. So we know how to play games, and in the end, it's all about playing games and not who has the most muscle. So I think that's a big reason why mixed doubles work so well, because if you have good strategy, then you can play really, really well.
Great stuff. Appreciate the perspective. Last thing before we let you go, what have been your takeaways of your first MLTT fall season?
Oh, it's so much fun. Like, it's terrible to lose when you lose in the golden game, but the thrill of winning the golden game is like you can see after every game people are on the floor and like running, leaving the hall even sometimes. So I just love it. It's amazing.
Thank you for joining us, Matilda. It's been fun watching you play. We'll see you in another golden game in a bit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to singles we go, Sean. Levinsky against Knight. And you said earlier you think this is going to be a toss-up. What, if anything, can you point to as what fans should be looking for at the start of this match?
Well, with Michel Levinsky, he lives and dies off of his serve. He's got a very effective reverse pendulum serve that sets everything in his game up. If he's able to mix that serve up and Tyrese has issues with it, look for Levinsky to bring in a lot of power. At the same time, Knight, he'll bring both offense and defense. And both of these players, if they're playing well, you'll see them making confident big shots. But if they get down a couple points, sometimes that can be their worst enemy as they get down on themselves. So they're both going to have to stay positive. They both want points. Levinsky trying to extend this to a potential 9-3 lead. Tyrese trying to sweep the other direction and tie it up at 6-6. That's not a good way to start the serve for Levinsky.
By the way, in more good news for Lepler's fantasy team, Angie Tan just took game 1 in singles over Nishant Labaka 11-7 over on table 2.
Angie Tan has been playing great this entire weekend, especially against her male counterparts.
Tyrese Knight rolling right now at the start here against Levinsky.
Both these players very volatile. We saw a little bit of taunting in last night's match. It would not surprise me to see both players giving some extra chos, little fist pumps across the net to send a message. Levinsky going for the big shot. Knight playing off the table, moving the ball around, making sure that he keeps that ball deep. Shorter the ball, the easier it is to get a wider angle.
Six, 3.
Wow. Michel Levinsky battling back.
And that's one way to stop a defensive player from attacking. Just counterattack their best shot down the line for a winner.
Four, 7.
Tough break for Levinsky there.
4.
But he made a very valiant attempt to get the net back. Didn't put up his arms and complain, just kept fighting for it.
I can see it. Can you see that?
So now Levinsky
9-4.
asking the umpire if he could see the contact on the serve, and that happens a lot with righties playing against lefties that tend to turn their body. Players are
5-9.
required to toss the ball so that the opponent can see the ball at all times, and it can't be shielded by their shoulder, their body, their head. Much more difficult when a righty plays a lefty or a lefty plays a righty to make sure that that
5,
toss doesn't get behind the shoulder, since the players are standing down the line from each other. And that's a heavy underspin ball.
Crocs, 11-5.
Tyrese Knight with the first game. Very convincing, 11-5.
And Levinsky certainly frustrated. See if he can regain his composure going forward, because that was, I don't want to say it was easy for Tyrese, but it was certainly convincing.
I mean, Levinsky had a couple great counterattacks that were world class, but Knight, when it came time to lift that second chop, Knight won the battle of the spins.
Tyrese Knight's had an interesting season, Sean. Played in 2 of the 3 events, missed the October event in Texas, but was in Daytona Beach and went 3-3 in singles and was excellent in the Golden Games for the Paddlers. And then Pleasanton, he went 4-2 in a pair of singles matches. Didn't have the same Golden Game success. When you look at the Golden Game numbers,
Crocs to
you know,
serve.
when a player, let's just
0-0.
say they played 50 points and they're 28-22 versus 22-28. I mean, how much of a sample size do you need of a Golden Game to say, like, you expect this person to win more points than they lose? Because we see some players that have great Golden Game records, others that you're a little surprised that they're not better, but there's, I don't want to say it's all a matter of flukiness and chance, because there's a lot of skill and purpose involved as well, but I think you understand what I'm getting at, in that there's a level of randomness to the Golden Game, which is what makes it so exhilarating.
Yeah, I would say that because some coaches will definitely do a complete lineup change-up, and you might have a number 3 and 4 player playing against the 1 and 2, that it's really tough to say how well they're playing, or there might be a difference in level of play. At the same time, if a team is down 15-5, I don't think that those points are very representative of who's playing better once the team creates that much distance. It's really about getting the W at the end.
Right.
And personally, I would rather have terrible stats if my team is winning, because again, this is all about the team. You've got to help your team, and that Golden Game 6 points is huge. We saw Jeremy Hazine lose 3 but win 2 big points in the Golden Game, and that was, in my mind, one of the critical factors of the Gold Rush to keep on winning.
Yeah, the comeback.
So,
speaking of the comeback, Tyrese Knight, 3 straight points after Levinsky's solid start to game 2. Tyrese is fired up. 24 years old, he'll be 25 in February.
this league has been perfect for him, playing out of the 888 club in California.
That was an incredible get.
And now he's going for a little bit of a forehand pendulum lobbing return from the backcourt. Just trying to put as much spin on the ball as possible.
Good stuff from Levinsky.
Levinsky with a great third ball attack. Super step around. Look at that.
6.
For all you players that don't like playing defensive players or choppers, often their serves, if they go long, that's a perfect opportunity to make the first attack while they're close to the table.
6. 6.
And you can hear it from both players.
Six. 7.
I feel like this is a huge game for Levinsky.
That's a good serve there.
7.
Just
7.
really juicing it up. That reverse pendulum, just really a lot of underspin. Oh, and look at that.
7. 8.
2 of the last 3 points have been service errors.
And we mentioned, remember in our first matches out on the West Coast, Tyrese had issues with his serve there.
8. 8.
That ball caught the edge. Tyrese pointing it out as well. 9-7 for Levinsky.
What?
Levinsky's ball just grazed the side
9.
edge.
7.
Oh, Levinsky with a great down the line forehand put away. No hesitation. Just delivered a great driving blow after stepping and dropping the ball.
Game point.
Game 2. Crocs.
11-7 for Levinsky. He needed that.
Both players really stepping up, finishing off the games in style.
Meanwhile, over on table 2, Angie Tan just won the rubber game against Nishant Labaka, 11-1.
That is a smoke out.
So Tan takes 2 out of 3 over Labaka. And what a moment for Angie.
I mean, you can just see the smiles on her face as everyone on the team is ready to give her some high fives.
Lily who? Just kidding. What about Michelle's turnaround here in game 2 on table 1?
Just more sure of himself, staying up to the table and the number of loops down the line. It's the shortest distance. Tyrese playing much more defensive minded, but there trying to do the side spin chop.
5.
He has been making a number of his loops, but spinning that ball up high, Levinsky's been able to turn
0.
and get his forehand in on those shots.
1. 0.
And those are big points right here off the opponent's serve. Levinsky really digging deep that underspin serve, making it very difficult for Tyrese to get the first attack.
Wow.
Once again, Levinsky taking the ball
1.
down the line.
One. 3.
Again, very smart from the backcourt, staying with the rally. Not going on defense, but just keeping in the point.
Great reflexes from Levinsky.
And Levinsky set that ball up
Four,
first with a
two.
deep push to the forehand, and he went for the counterattack. Levinsky really finding his range, going for a lot of big shots.
Michel making his first MLTT appearance this weekend since the opening weekend in Daytona Beach.
That's a very smart shot by Levinsky. So much spin on the ball. Almost impossible to counterattack that. When you load it up that heavy, the bottom is dropping out of the ball.
2.
To try to drive over the top, almost impossible. Even hitting the ball sometimes difficult. Oh, and
My
Levinsky
goodness.
goes for a reverse
5.
serve off the backhand side. Trying to play it cross court for the winner. And then Tyrese
4. 5.
getting a free point off the serve. Now Levinsky's had a missed serve and a missed serve return back to back. Make that 2.
5. 5. Six. 5.
Down the line's working for Levinsky. Big point for the Crocs. Evan, it's these points right here that create that 2-point differential.
Yep. Tyrese is not out of it, but he's let it slip away.
6.
Good
7.
short serve.
Yeah, double bouncing. Levinsky was ready to attack it. And a great block
6.
off the opening loop by Levinsky. Once again, that's the place to go when Levinsky can step around his backhand and play it straight down the line. Just too much spin, too much speed for Tyrese Knight.
Tyrese Knight hobbling over to the towel a little bit, maybe needing an injury timeout. This is alarming in a variety of ways.
I don't know if it's a cramp possibly or if it's a hip issue, but he's definitely going down on one knee.
Unfortunately, we have seen a variety of injuries pop up over the past few weeks in MLTT, and the ramifications are serious. The rules are pretty unforgiving when it comes to injuries in terms of Golden Game. Like if Knight's not good enough to go in the Golden Game, those are points that they're just going to have to forfeit. Let's go back to the last point, Sean, and see if we notice anything. Watching Tyrese closely here. Hard to notice anything explicitly. Let's stay with it if we can.
Looks like he grabbed down by his shoelaces. But now you can see something is...
Something caught him.
Might-
9-6 Levinsky.
From the angle that I'm seeing, it looks like they're tending to his toes, putting some ice. I don't know if he stubbed his toe, but they're definitely icing it right now.
His sock and sneaker are off on his left foot.
And they've got
behind that barricade.
they've got a water bottle that I assume is cold.
And Jonathan McDonald, who is, playing in the next singles match, is trotting over to get some treatment stuff for. It looks like a spray or a lotion. I was watching you and Matt the other day when there was the long injury delay right before the Golden game due to the bloody nose. Did I say you and Sean? You and Matt? I don't know.
And I was just thinking during that situation, if they weren't able to stop the bleeding, and he went back on the court, they would not be allowed, based on the rules, to have any blood on the court. So it seemed to me it was going to be until they could get it to stop bleeding versus the 10-minute ticker. This one, after 10 minutes, they will ask him to get out onto the court, whether he can move as well or not. And he'll finish this match without any difficulty. I mean, it'll hurt, but he'll play the whole set of points because he's so close to possibly coming back. But I would anticipate in the Golden game he'd do the exact same thing. He'll go out and play. He just won't have the same mobility or movement. I don't see him choosing not to play and give 4 points away every time that his order came up.
MLTT head referee Ed Hogshead just walking over to Florida Crocs bench to discuss the situation. Before the matches today, Ed was telling me that he once beat a player that beat you, a Nigerian named Babenga or something like that. And of course I had to bring it up.
I started playing when I was 9 years old. Everyone beat me at one point. I'm surprised Ed didn't tell you when we played head-to-head, and I beat him in Detroit when I was 12. So
that happened?
Yeah, I played him head-to-head, and he probably wanted to forget that one, but I don't forget any of my matches.
He never came and said that he was better than you or that he beat you. He just said that he did have a win against a guy that beat you, and I think he's still proud of that all these years later. The clock in the top right is a rough injury clock.
I'm just getting hammered from every angle. First, the fan league teams, and now the director of operations.
Well, we
got some slow time to fill right now.
We kid because we love.
And it looks like Tyrese, whatever they needed to do, you can still see him wincing. Now, hopefully he's not playing against the ball boy, because here comes Levinsky.
Sock and the shoe are back on. Levinsky's had some time to think about these last couple of points.
9-6.
Levinsky has one more serve, leading by 3, 2 points away from a 2-1 win. Knight with a little fist pump.
And Levinsky once again trying to force the step around. This time, ball caught his paddle down by the handle.
Wow.
Big backhand loop.
With a Dikembe Mutombo finger wag right there. As if to say, no, no, no. Game point. It's over. Levinsky able to close it out. Hopefully Tyrese Knight is okay as we move toward the Golden game. But Michel Levinsky entered this weekend with only one singles game victory in his career. And he takes 2 out of 3 from Tyrese Knight, who entered this weekend with a winning record. So that's a good win for Michel.
Very strong playing. He took the big shots. He was not outweighting or outlasting Tyrese. He went for the winners when he had the opportunity.
That also guarantees the Crocs a lead heading into the Golden game. Michel, well done. 11-5 was the score in game number 1 to Tyrese's favor. How did you change things around and take 2 points for your team?
So in the first game, I was unfortunately rushing, and I had a lot of unforced errors that he capitalized on. So I was just focusing on putting the first ball on the table and not rushing it. And then in the open game, I think I have a little better chance to win the point, whether he's chopping or whether he's counter-looping back to me. So, yeah.
You know, Michel, it seemed like every time you stepped around your backhand and played your forehand down the line, you had instant success. But I was more impressed with the one backhand you did right at the end of the game, cross court. That was a big shot.
Yeah, I mean, he received a little higher than normally, so I took the chance and I had to play cross court because he was already moving to the backhand to chop the ball. So I took the chance and it worked.
Michel, we know that your serve has been one of the key factors of your game. How do you decide what level of aggressiveness you want to use for your serve?
So actually with him, I was serving quite simple the whole match because he has pips and he is not looking to do any special receives. He's just pushing the ball back. So I was trying to keep it as low and short as possible, and once in a while change it up and make a long top spin or underspin. But in general, I was trying to keep it just low and short.
How satisfying of a win is that for you?
Yeah, great. I mean, I'm happy that I brought 2 points to the team. We will definitely have a lead in the golden game, but it's now up to Ojo to decide how big of a lead we'll have.
Well said. Thanks for the time, Michel. We'll see you in the golden game.
Thank you.
All righty. I think you can call this one a popcorn match, Sean. Ojo Onaolapo and Jonathan McDonald both go for their shots.
And it's going to be interesting with McDonald's backhand down the line and Ojo stepping around and playing forehands as much as possible all over the table.
Man, this McDonald-Przeppa match yesterday was ridiculous. Lots of highlights both ways, plenty of trash talk. It got spicy and, frankly, a little uncomfortable at times, but it was exhilarating to watch. And then Ojo has had his share of battles. This was earlier this weekend going up against Seattle's Johan Hagberg. Here we go, game 1. First point to McDonald. Ojo, one of the few guys who's had a winning record in the Golden Game at every event this year.
His style really lends itself well. The ability to hit winners, go for big shots, both on the serve and serve receive. Very scary to play against Ojo.
And we have seen during the season that there's no way to say this other than Florida doesn't have the same mojo without Ojo.
Yeah, he's been that spark when they were missing him in the one match, just a whole different Florida team. And he brings so much power and energy on and off the table to the Crocs.
And it's a strange dynamic too, because I mean, he was the 7th round draft pick of the Crocs. Obviously a great diamond in the rough selection. And now he's playing in the AB spot along with Gorak. You know, Gorak in the A spot, Ojo in the B spot. Ojo, the 2nd ranked player on this team. Of course, no Daniel Gonzalez this weekend, but Ojo has more than shown he's worthy of being one of the top players, not just in his team, but in the league. And his power ranking spot in top 10 confirms that too.
And McDonald continues to mix up the serves. Doing a great job with the deep serve and getting his first attack in, as well as his backhand.
5-4. Four, 6.
This will be the last singles match of the weekend on table 1. One more golden game still to come.
7.
Crocs right now, with their 8 points here, have 46 points on the weekend. It's not a bad weekend by any means, Sean, but it's the fewest in the East Division. So as solidly as Florida has played, they have lost ground on Chicago, Princeton, and Carolina.
They're banking on getting a lot of points in this match, if possible. Jonathan McDonald has a different idea. He'd like to bring Portland back, possibly within 1, going into the golden game. What a great return off of Ojo's big forehand. McDonald somehow timed that perfectly. We're tied up at 7. And now Ojo forcing it. He's giving himself a calm down sign.
I don't know if you articulated a position of who's going to win this match, because I didn't ask, but did you have a sense internally, one way or another, who you were leaning toward?
Just seems that Ojo's style has a lot more options.
9, 8.
McDonald, when he gets into the forehand-to-forehand angle, Ojo's going to win that battle. And the backhand-to-backhand is clearly McDonald, but I just didn't see that backhand-to-backhand occurring as much.
Wow. Off the net, off the edge. McDonald got a paddle on it, but it rung off the side of the table. 10-8 to Ojo. Looking to make it 9-4 and increase the Crocs lead, both overall and heading into the golden game.
And there's Ojo's forehand, just so solid, so spinny, and playing it to the middle.
11-8, game 1 for Onaolapo, as the Crocs now lead 9-4. Over on table 2, Princeton and the Bay Area Blasters tied 7-7 in points, with Pershepa and Tawanjong on the table. Wanjong has game point to potentially close out and give the Blasters an 8-7 lead going into their golden game. They'll get to the golden game first. Game 1 here, McDonald had some moments, but not enough of them.
He made some big shots, but played a lot of catch-up, and Ojo, no difficulty picking his shots, staying away from the backhand.
Game 2, Paddlers to serve.
Blasters are leading
0-0.
You'll be starting with a 1-point lead. Princeton Revolution.
Game 2, McDonald to serve first against Ojo.
McDonald going for a very quick off-the-bounce push. Got too much of that ball.
1-1.
Again, McDonald opting for the deep serves to challenge the opponent.
Angie is your second pick. Angela is your second pick.
2,
Your third.
1.
Yefden. Coach, your third. Yefden Pershepa.
Nice backhand over the table.
2.
McDonald has to figure out a way of getting his backhand into play on each point.
Your third. Who's your fourth? Jinbao is your fourth.
2, 3.
You got Nissan or Alex Chen? Alex Chen against Jinbao. And then Nissan is your set.
3-all through 6 points here in game 2.
Good luck, coaches. 1 point for the Blasters.
Three, 4.
Don't ask me what's going to happen in game 3, Sean, but I think game 3 of this match is going to be a rubber game.
Four,
I'm going to stand by it despite that error by McDonald there.
Off the side of the table. Oh, that's a great combination by Jonathan McDonald.
4.
Starting with the deep serve and then just staying on the offense. And his backhand is so strong. Really great cross-court play. And then following it with a strong forehand.
That was a fun rally.
5, 6.
Ojo stays in it. Inches back within 1, trailing 6-5.
Little surprise there that Jonathan played that one final ball out to the forehand, knowing what Ojo is capable of. And Ojo, some
6, 6.
fast footwork, similar to teammate Michelle Levinsky, playing that lefty loop down the line. And McDonald showing displeasure at that last mistake.
Can he recover?
Oh, what a great 1-2 punch. McDonald was hoping to have been up 8-6 instead of 7-7 with the previous mistake. But he got a big
7, 8.
break right there by just lifting up the ball, and Ojo coming up with air. And McDonald with another short return, and Ojo takes it long.
(10-7) to McDonald.
7.
Right shot for McDonald, just needed more spin to bring the ball down. But he had the down the line loop on his racket.
Obviously, if McDonald can close out this game, it will guarantee that Paddlers will have a chance to steal this match in the Golden Game.
McDonald goes for it with the backhand after setting it up, but Ojo staying with the forehand power.
It's 10-all.
An over the table backhand attack by Ojo to even it up for one more point.
Just the second golden point we've seen in this team match. First since the very first game between Gorak and Shah. Wow. Ojo Onaolapo roars back to take game two, 11-10.
And somehow able to put his racket on the ball. McDonald made a very forceful forehand flip cross court, and Ojo somehow got it on the table with some side spin that just jumped. You can see the Crocs in the background.
Look at that.
Full mouths open by everyone on the team.
That, in a nutshell, is what MLTT is all about. Teamwork, the camaraderie, the passion, the emotion. So McDonald lets it slip away, and Ojo gives the Crocs a 10-4 lead. Now, if Ojo finishes off the sweep, it would clinch the win for the Crocs. The 6 points in the Golden Game would still be up for grabs and would still loom large in the standings, particularly in how Florida relates to Princeton heading into 2024.
Game 3, Crocs to serve.
They're midway through the Golden Game over
0-0.
on table 2. Bay Area leads Princeton 12-10. Game available on the Adam cast in its entirety.
1-0.
I was wrong about McDonald setting up a rubber game here, and now I'm skeptical whether he has just the chutzpah to battle back after the discouraging experience that he just endured, and we shall see. Ojo blasts his way to a quick 2-0 lead.
1-2.
I mean, McDonald continues to stay focused on every point. We saw a little bit of frustration in the last game when he had the opportunity to score points. But he's fighting for every point. You can see him looking back at the bench, confirming that he is focused, so not surprise me if he found a way of getting this game. Ojo with a 2-point lead off and can play a little bit softer or riskier.
4 straight for McDonald.
Right idea by McDonald, going for the block down the line. If it lands, he's going to get the point directly. But Ojo is going to be freewheeling and taking big shots. The 2-0 lead.
5-4.
He's got the green light to go for it.
Five, 4.
Players switch sides at 5-4. And now
4,
Ojo in front
6.
6-4. So this game, Ojo led 2-0. McDonald scored 4 straight. And now Ojo has answered with 4 straight.
5, 6.
And that's a mistake there. You cannot
7,
push
5.
a push back over the net and not expect Ojo to take advantage of it. Ojo's over the table loop is just too strong when there's no pressure on him. Quality short
8,
serve.
5.
Ojo's going to stay with the backhand serve, doing the exact same thing.
Five, 9.
This is going to be a tough one for Jonathan McDonald. Dropped the opening game 11-8 and coughed up a lead in game 2. Several game points, and he lost 11-10.
6, 9.
Barring a crazy comeback here, Crocs will clinch this match, and we know they're going to take a 5-0 lead into the golden game.
10,
Game points
6.
for Onaolapo. Impressive finish to Ojo's weekend in singles for the Crocs. And it's over.
Game 3. Crocs.
Chomping his way to another 3-0 sweep. Ojo Onaolapo showing the goods here in Rock Hill.
Just getting the job done. Lots of power, lots of placement, and going for his shots when they were there.
And so it's 11-4 heading into the golden game. The Crocs will go for 6 more points, though, as they determine the order. We'll see how risky Don Levy wants to be in cracking the order. Let's review everything we've seen so far in this match, Sean. Began with Gorak and Shaw. Thrilling match, but Gorak takes it 2-1.
Yeah, Jiwei played well. He's often overmatched in the 1 position, very strong in the 2 position. But then Vila Ortiz getting the 1-point victory in his singles match.
And that was the highlight for the Paddlers, a 2-1 win for Ortiz, but Gorak and Ekholm sweeping the doubles match. And then Michelle Levinsky, after dropping game 1, comes back to take 2 out of 3 against Tyrese.
Levinsky very strong, and then again, McDonald against Ojo, and Ojo showing the power. McDonald's showing the frustration. Crocs getting the job done.
Okay, we've got the Florida Crocs are leading 11-4. You'll start with a 5-point lead. There's still 6 points at stake. Portland, you pick first player. G-Way is your number 1. Coach? Daniel Gorak is your number 1. Your number 2. Benjamin Brossier. Your number 2. Isak, and your number 3. Jonathan McDonald is your 3. Coach? Ojo, and your 4. Michelle making Matilda your 5. Who's your number 4, Coach? You got Joanna and Tyrese. And Joanna. Good luck, coaches. Let's start right away. Let's go.
So you see the order. Gorak versus Shaw, Brossier versus Vila. Ojo and McDonald will meet again, as will Michelle and Tyrese. And then the women will play in the 5-hole, Ekholm and Sung. It's a 5-0 lead for the Crocs at the start. Here's why this matters for Florida. They're currently sitting with 49 points on the weekend. Princeton has 50 points. They just lost their Golden game, so they're done. Chicago has 54 points. This is the difference between Florida finishing the weekend with the second most points in the East Division and overall versus finishing with the fewest points in the East Division for the weekend. Not to mention the fantasy implications of Sean's devastating drop from the top 50. Perhaps.
It's okay, I never give up. And there's always next week, but in this case, next month.
And next year, really.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
Florida's done enough to finish this weekend in second place in the East, but there's going to be a big gap between Carolina and everybody else. Meanwhile, this 6 points would be huge for Portland if they could rally back from the 5-0 deficit, something that they have done once. Against Seattle on September 22nd, the Paddlers overcame a 5-0 deficit and won the Golden game against the Spinners. Can they do it again?
What a shot by Avila. He has pulled those shots out throughout this weekend. Just that quick hit off the bounce on the step away.
Excellent serve from Brassier.
And then Vila going for broke.
All right, we just saw Ojo win 3 straight games against Jonathan. Can McDonald answer in the Golden game? It's a good start.
4-9.
He takes the table down by 6. Obviously, a golden sweep would be huge for the Paddlers, but even taking 3 out of 4 would be significant for Portland in their comeback bid. Oh, what a serve.
9-5.
To the very back corner of the table, and Ojo tried to go for it all, and obviously didn't come close to getting it back. And that's 3 straight for McDonald. After he just lost 3 straight games, he wins 3 straight points in the Golden. Going for the golden sweep. And he's done it! From 9-3 to 9-7, and we've got ourselves a game.
Now the 2 fiery players.
Bidding for the behind-the-back shot. Tyrese was uncertain about what happened there. Look at this. Didn't expect that ball to come back. Tyrese was uncertain. That's wild. Timeout taken. We got to see that again if we can.
It's not so uncommon when you guess the wrong side to put the racket behind your back. And I think Tyrese, because he was celebrating so fast, forgot that the ball had not gone past Levinsky and hit anything.
This didn't hit the table, did it? He was real nervous for a moment there.
Right, it was.
8-9.
Wow, that's 5 straight points for the Paddlers. And 6 in a row to tie this thing up 9 points apiece.
And this is exactly what the Paddlers would love to happen. They're all jumping up and down.
Levinsky snaps the rally. Puts the Crocs back in front 10-9.
Oh, great fading inside out forehand by Levinsky. Instead of taking it down the line, faded it out to the forehand.
Good swing from Joanna Sung. Paddlers back within one. No one from Florida wants to hear this, but it would be a tremendous way to cap this weekend if Portland could erase the 5-0 deficit and deliver a thrilling Golden Game comeback, but not going to be easy. The Crocs are battle tested.
And Matilda is going to fight just to get those first spin shots into the game, trying to get Joanna off balance. Oh, very tricky side spin serve, which you would expect Ekholm to have.
Let 13-10.
Big fist pump from Matilda Ekholm. Strong performance from her. And now the final 4 points of the weekend for Daniel Gorak and Jiwei Shah. Jiwei with his work cut out for him. Portland really could use 3 out of 4. Gorak could inch Florida to the finish line. And that's a great response. Jiwei wound up for the big forehand, and Gorak sent it right back.
Gorak is so skilled at the counterattack. Jiwei makes a great opening. Gorak just sends it away.
Goodness!
16-10.
Gorak's in charge.
Just pinpoint lightning action from that backhand.
Timeout, Paddlers.
Timeout taken by the Portland Paddlers. Jiwei Shah will catch his breath, but 2 fantastic points for Daniel Gorak on Jiwei Shah's serve.
Coach Idan Levy, interim coach, telling Jiwei, let's just do it.
10.
Don't be afraid. We're down 16-10. Make it happen.
He's got 2 more points to play. Gorak will serve on both of them.
Oh, big block by Jiwei on the backhand. That's probably Jiwei's best weapon, to allow Gorak to make the first attack and then just put pressure on him.
Three out of 4 for Gorak.
Jiwei was caught stepping in on a ball that went half long. As he went in to step in, he'd already overstepped the ball. And now, Vila Ortiz trying to bring the paddlers back.
What a shot from Brassier.
Brassier, biggest shot of the match. Off the bounce, running into the table.
Missed the table on the comeback with Ortiz on the ground. These players leaving it all out there. One goes down. We almost had 2 players go down to the same point.
Standing 8 count.
Florida closing in.
And Brassier picking the right angle. High toss serve, stepping around, going the reverse direction.
20-12. And for Portland to win this thing, they're going to need 9 straight points from Knight and Sung and McDonald.
(13-20). Let.
Still match point for the Crocs.
20-14.
Well, McDonald lost 3 straight games to Ojo, but he's had his number in the Golden game. 7 straight points from McDonald here in the Golden game to at least create some intrigue. And how about that?
What a forehand flip. Misdirection. Last second comes in with an open face. And even Ocho says, where did that come from? That got a racket flip. And now it's up to Tyrese Knight.
Well, they were down 20-12. They've gotten 4 in a row. And Knight is battling through the pain, but Portland still clinging to life here at Rock Hill. Are you kidding me? What is transpiring right now? Will Florida take a timeout, you wonder?
They've got one left.
6 straight points for the Paddlers. It's still...
You got to think that Levinsky's going to serve long and just put pressure on Knight.
Still game point for Levinsky in Florida. That missed and it's over. The Florida Crocs chomp their way to victory in the Golden game over the Paddlers. Portland made it exciting and interesting late, but 21-18 is the final as Florida, after a weekend that had some ups and downs, they'll still finish with the 2nd most points of any team that's here, which is pretty impressive, Sean.
And Levinsky gets the final chomp, jumping back into action after Daytona Beach and helping get the job done for a very exciting team match here in Rock Hill.
So 17-4 is the final. And the final tally for the weekend is not going to be pretty for the West Division. Frank Arias, the victorious coach of the Crocs, will join us here momentarily, but they're going to celebrate the moment before we get a conversation. My unofficial tally for the weekend: East Division, 223 points. West Division, 113 points.
Amazing.
It was a demolition. Frank, congratulations. Some nervy moments late there, but your team able to get to the finish line in the Golden game. What stood out most to you about that match against the Paddlers?
Oh, seems like lately we've been in like cliffhanging in every match, so it was on the line. So fortunately, the Golden game came out well to us.
Frank, you may not realize this from a math standpoint, but that Golden game was the difference between you finishing with the 2nd most points in the league this weekend or finishing with the 4th most points in your division for this weekend. But you got the job done, and only Carolina had more points than you among the 8 teams that were here because of that Golden game.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for the information. Your math info is always valuable.
How do you feel about the way your team competed this weekend? What was it like to be a part of this interdivisional event?
It was very interesting. We were facing teams that we haven't, different players, different styles, and it was. I think we did quite well. Yesterday was a very tough loss, but then we came strong today.
You know, Frank, it seemed pulling Michel Levinsky back into the lineup, he played big today, didn't he?
He did. Yes, definitely hit it. So, yeah, he got some very important points against Tyrese, and then at the end, he was the game winner.
What do you see from Ojo, both in the match against Jonathan, where he was able to take 3 straight games, and then the Golden game, where McDonald was able to turn it around against him?
Yeah, it turned out completely different. He was dominating on the singles, and then on the Golden game, suddenly he lost a little bit of focus and track. But fortunately, we were leading, and we had some advantage so that we can avoid that issue.
Well, Frank, your team certainly played well in the Golden Games here in Rock Hill. What have been your biggest takeaways from the first half of the season now that we've reached the midway point with the holiday break coming up?
We have some very good feedback from each of the matches, so we're going to sit down, analyze, and get back stronger after the half of the season.
Great stuff. Well done, Frank. We'll see you in 2024.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Frank Arias, the head coach of the Crocs. They remain in second place in the East Division, but the Carolina Gold Rush do create a little bit more separation. There was an 18-point gap between these 2 top teams in the East before this weekend, and that gap only widens. But Michel, when we got to chat with you not long ago after your singles win, you're on the table with Portland closing the gap quickly in that Golden game from 20-12 to 20-18.
Absolutely.
You're serving. What's going through your mind?
I'm receiving, actually.
Oh, that's right.
So I was actually more afraid receiving. If I was serving, I would be very calm and I would know I'm making the point. But yeah, I wasn't ready for a game in developing the point, and he was making a quick error from me. So yeah, he was able to get 2 on his serves. But then when I have my serve, I feel much more comfortable, obviously.
So, Michel, when you're playing somebody who is going through a little bit of an injury, are you thinking to yourself, just play normal, don't do anything differently? Or are you thinking, oh, he's not going to move as much, so I need to move the ball to put even more pressure on him?
No, actually, he has some magic cream. He put some magic cream and start jumping, so I wasn't thinking about his injury.
Michel, what have been your biggest takeaways from the season so far overall, the team format, and what are you most looking forward to about the spring?
So the format is unbelievable, interesting, because look, even we guaranteed our win with 11 points before the Golden game. They're still fighting to get these 6 points, so we have to fight back. And even with 20-12, the fight's still going on until the last point. So definitely a very competitive platform where we have to fight until the last point.
17 points for your team in this match, including the 6 from the Golden game. 55 points on the weekend out of a possible 84. That's the second most of any team. Only Carolina was better. So
yeah,
you and Carolina atop the East. That seems like it's going to be the rivalry headed toward the spring, and we look forward to seeing it unfold. Michel, congrats. Thank you, and have a happy New Year.
You as well. See you in January.
Yes, indeed. Here's the final numbers for the weekend and the big takeaways. Carolina and the rest of the East were great. The Bay Area Blasters win 3 out of their 4 matches overall. Don't dominate from a points perspective. They get 45 points out of a possible 84, but they do create some separation because Seattle, Texas, and Portland all struggled, to put it mildly. But I mean, this East Division, I'm curious. You know, that was a huge 17-point win for Florida. If Princeton wins their Golden game against the Bay Area and Florida comes up short, that 21-point gap is a 9-point gap, and all of a sudden the race looks very, very different.
Yeah, just so many what-ifs and permutations, but Portland did everything they could, just lost to a stronger team today.
Well, that will be a wrap for the first ever MLTT interdivisional weekend. We'll be back with you in early January 2024 from Hollywood, Florida for the first East Division event of 2024. See if Carolina and Florida can keep it rolling, or Princeton or Chicago can get back into the chase. Sean O'Neill, this has been a privilege and a pleasure to be with you this weekend, and just a really fun experience to see these different matchups, the different styles of play, all on the table and 2 tables at once. As you close out the weekend, what sticks in your mind?
Just an absolute thrill to see the different players, the styles, the team chants, just everyone giving it their all, and it's so wonderful to be part of the MLTT family.
Yes, indeed. For everyone with Major League Table Tennis, we wish you a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, and a very happy New Year. For Sean O'Neill and our entire crew, Evan Lepler saying so long from Rock Hill.